So we're here in Des Moines, Iowa at the Iowa State Supreme Court. We're about to walk in and provide notice to the Supreme Court on behalf of affected litigants here within the state of Iowa. When a state chooses to enact its own alternative legislation and substitutes it for the provisions and guarantees of the United States Constitution, that is a seditious act. Sedition is defined as the speaking or writing of words such as law established in order to cause disaffection of the Constitution to procure its alteration other than lawful manner. There's one way to change the Constitution, and that can be found in Article 5, the special amending procedure. And that is not done by executive fiat, by judicial fiat, or by legislative fiat. It must be done by an authentic act of the people, and until that occurs, then those obligations that are constitutionally codified are sacredly obligatory upon all, individually and collectively. So here in the state of Iowa, they have chosen to charge by way of information, not by indictment, as required by Clause 1 of Amendment 5 to the United States Constitution. So when a state enacted its own alternative legislation and then enforces that law through one of its agents, directing that agent to act unlawfully and thus deprive persons, United States citizens, of rights guaranteed to them by the Constitution of the United States of America, that is a crime. Title 18, subsection 242, which states any person who, under the color of any state statute, ordinance, custom, or regulation, deprives any person of any rights secured by the Constitution commits that crime. Now, this is a per se crime, meaning that we don't have to prove that they intended to breach their obligation. Simply by virtue of the breach, all elements of crime have been met, and they have already implicitly invited punishment in the form of perjury should they fail to fulfill the promise. So we don't have to show that they intended to breach their obligation. Simply by virtue of the breach, all elements of crime have been met. So we're going to go in. We're going to challenge the Supreme Court to step up, discharge the duties of their office, fulfill the promises and obligations that they made to the people of the state of Iowa, and hold criminals accountable for the crimes they commit against persons of the United States of America. So let's go and provide this service on behalf of the Bauer family and the Adams family. God bless. Hi, are you Supreme Court Clerk? You're an agent, though, of the Supreme Court? Okay, so we have ongoing federal litigation. It's at the United States Supreme Court. State of Iowa is not named a party, but we need to provide notice to the justices so that they can hopefully direct the judicial officers within the state to act in a lawful and constitutional manner. So this is evidence. It's in the ongoing case. Front page is the certificate of service. Second page, or on the inside of the flap, here is my contact information. Here are two affidavits from affected parties here within the state, and we just need to deliver it to you guys and drop it off. So, yeah. So I handwrite every single one of my certificate of services. So that's the certificate of service, providing direction on how to proceed with the notice.
Give me 1 moment.
Okay. Yeah. All it is a notice. Hopefully we can mitigate this issue. They can direct the judicial officers within the state to act in a lawful manner. That's all that we intend to do. Hopefully we can get this resolved without any further litigation. But there is a case that's already at the United States Supreme Court that deals with this issue. We know that Iowa has done things in a similar manner. That's simply identifying a couple litigants within the state so that we can make sure the justices are aware of it and can hopefully address this issue without having to enjoin the state of Iowa into the federal litigation. Okay, awesome. What was your name? Chris? Okay, thank you so much. What was your name, ma'am? Han? Okay, thank you guys so much. God bless you guys. God bless you. Thank you. Service has been provided on behalf of the Bauer and Adams family at the Supreme Court of Iowa, received by Court Clerk Chris and Han. Thank you so much. God bless. Thank you, guys. Moments ago, we provided service on behalf of the Adams and the Bauer family to the state of Iowa Supreme Court. When a state chooses to enact its own alternative legislation and substitutes it for the provisions and guarantees of the United States Constitution, that is a seditious act. Sedition is defined as the speaking or writing of words such as law established in order to cause disaffection of the Constitution to procure its alteration other than lawful manner. There is one way to change the Constitution, and that is by an authentic act of the people in accordance with the special amending procedure of Article 5. So when a state chooses to enact its own alternative legislation, its own laws, inferior laws, and then substitute those for the provisions and guarantees of the Constitution, an act of sedition has occurred. Then, when it directs their agents, being a prosecuting attorney, to rely upon that inferior state law to deprive a person of a right guaranteed by the Constitution of the United States, that person has just committed a crime called deprivation of rights under color of law. Title 18, subsection 242, which states any person who, under the color of any state statute, ordinance, custom, or regulation, deprives any person of any right secured by the Constitution commits that crime. This is a per se crime, meaning we don't have to prove that they intended to breach their obligation. Simply by virtue of the breach, all elements of crime have been met, and they have already implicitly invited punishment in the form of perjury should they fail to fulfill the promise. So there is no finding of facts that's necessary. There is no trial that's necessary to determine one's guilt. All we have to do is show that they had an obligation and they failed to fulfill that obligation. So we are providing notice to the Supreme Court of the state of Iowa and directing them to take action immediately against those that are failing to fulfill the obligations that are established and codified in the Constitution of the United States of America when they choose to charge by way of information, not by indictment as required by the Constitution in Article or Clause 1 of Amendment 5. So right now, we challenge you, Supreme Court, step up, discharge the duties of your office, fulfill the promise that you made to the people of the state of Iowa, and hold criminals accountable for the crimes they commit against the people of the United States of America. If you choose to do nothing, you will become complicit due to your negligence, because the laws of criminal conspiracy state any person who, having knowledge of any of the wrongs conspired to be done, and who have the power to prevent or aid in the prevention of the commission of same, neglects or refuses to do so, may be joined in defendants of the action. Upon providing notice to your clerks, Clerk Chris and Clerk Hahn, you have been provided notice, because notice to agent is notice to principal. So upon receipt of that by your by the clerk of court, you have been notified, and now we challenge you to take action, and we challenge you to take action in a lawful manner, because if you do not, then you will become defendants in the action, and you will become complicit in the criminal conspiracy due to your negligence. So once again, please step up, discharge the duties of your office, fulfill the promise that you made to the people of the state of Iowa, and hold criminals accountable for the crimes they commit against the people of the United States of America. God bless you, and have a great day.